If you don't know how baking works, how do you know what ingredients you need?
So let's talk about making a cake. If we're going to make a cake, we know we've got to have certain ingredients, right? Some flour and butter and sugar and salt. And I don't know what the ingredients are, but I'm sure we could go online and figure out that these are the core ingredients to make a cake. So, step number one, if you're applying first principles thinking, is to break down to the fundamental parts. Break down to the parts that are granular enough that you don't need to break down anymore, right?
So that one of the principles is by mixing these ingredients together and putting baking powder in there, or it's already in the mix or whatever, and I heat that up to a certain level, that heat is going to cause a reaction that ends up being the cake. So you've got to talk about the chemical reaction or the physics, the science, or whatever that's also acting upon this.
It will be in a minute, but right now I just need to know the fundamental ingredients. So we've decided that our output, we want a cake. And then we've
Output is
decided
a
that
cake.
these are the ingredients that it's going to take to make the cake.
Eggs, flour, milk, water, sugar,
Sugar.
whatever.
Now I need to think in terms of not what are the fundamental parts, but I need to think in terms of process and how these parts are going to combine and interact together. In the cake, we got, sugar, flour, whatever, right? Well, but I'm saying step one of first principles is like thinking that involves breaking down complex idea or problem into their most fundamental parts, right?
Yeah, so to me, understanding what happens in the process of baking something, right? The chemical reaction by adding the baking powder and all that stuff in there. That is a principle too. If you don't know how baking works, how do you know what ingredients you need? How do you know you need baking powder if you don't know how baking works? If you don't know the scientifically what that if I mix this ingredient with this ingredient, throw some water in there, whatever, throw it in the oven and heat it up to 400 degrees or 350 degrees, it's gonna rise and cause that kind of airiness. If you don't understand that, then what ingredients are you getting together? To me, it's equally as important as any other ingredient.